Okay guys, welcome to another video. Today you see a lot of mess right here going on, and in a second it will all make sense to all of you. What do all these devices have in common? That's an air purifier, that's a regular standing fan, this is a tiny desk fan, this is a hand crank radio, this is a hand crank flashlight, this is a hand crank motor, this is just a copper coil with a magnet on it, and this is another shop fan. Well, what's in common with all these devices here is motors. All these motors work on the same exact principle of this coil and this magnet. Except inside these motors, you have these coils in the inner inside part of the motor, which is called a stator, and the magnet goes around it, which is called a rotor. You have what's called an induction field or electromagnetic field. Now, this is not the only one generated. Yes, EMF is generated by a lot of things. We generate that from our cell phones daily, our computers, lights, any of that. But today I'm talking about the motors that seems that everybody is forgetting one of the main emitters of that kind of frequency. And I'm saying it in a light that some people that I even know in my own life are very sensitive to those magnetic fields. And yes, sometimes they actually can feel sick, nauseated, and all that because they had one of these guys too close to their body. Not to forget about those fans that you even hang around your neck. Those are motors inside as well. Small, insignificant to the majority of the people, but significant enough to the sensitive amongst us. And I would like to talk about it from a technical standpoint, engineering standpoint, not from a medical standpoint, because I'm not a medic, I'm not a doctor, and what I'm about to say in this video and explain in this video is not to be taken or understood as medical advice or reasoning. This is purely from a technical standpoint. We are going to measure how many milligauss are they going to measure, because that's how we measure those magnetic fields, or EMF, how most people call them. So let's begin. And let's start with the big ones so we can remove them from the table just to show you and prove my point here. This is turned on and it's set on milligauss, as you see right there, and I'm gonna put it near this device. Now the motor is right here. I'm gonna put it right here, and I'm gonna turn on the knob. As you see right here, I'm gonna put it just on the lowest, and as you see, it is beeping and reading. Let me put it on the medium speed. The numbers just went upper, and now it's on high speed, and the numbers went almost 40, and they relax as the motor dies down. So this is a good proof of what I'm saying here. Let me take this out of the table, and the second one will be one of the most common fans that you find around the house. It's one of these standing fans, and this one is probably very dirty, but I'm gonna try my best to show you that this still emits that EMF. And the motor for these is usually here on the bottom, because that's how they stay. There's a long shaft from here to the top, and the top is just a ring bearing that holds it while the motor spins it from here. And we're gonna put the meter right here. As you see, there's nothing, it's not reading anything, but if I click the power button on it, let's see what it reads. As you see, it started reading right away, and now that I click the button off, it went back to 0, as you see right here. And this is one of the very common fans that we all have, and yes, obviously, as you see, I have one that I use sometimes for the shop, and unfortunately there is no other way in some areas of the house. But what we can do to mitigate that is not to stay too close to them. That is the key here. Do not be too close to them. Now, the third one will be one of these that I featured on a video before, the Renpho air purifier. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it, except for the motor that stays right here on top on these styles. As you see, there's nothing going on right now. The numbers are staying at 0. Now let me turn it on and see what happens. Once the motor clicks in, it starts reading the numbers, and these are actually quite high. Now let me put it further away from it, and these are not safe numbers. These numbers are not safe, especially if you are sensitive to electromagnetic fields. And yes, as I said before, this is not from a doctor's standpoint. This is from my standpoint as a technician to show you what these devices do or can do. And sometimes if you're feeling kinda not really at the best of your health and you can't explain it, it's not always reverting to 5G or high temperatures or any of that. Could be as simple as one of these guys being way too close to you and actually interfering with your body temperature. Now, these fields are considered non-ionizing, which means they're not gonna start boiling you. But if you stay close to them long enough, you'll start feeling heated because now your cells are starting to vibrate faster than what they're supposed to be because of the magnetic field that's nearby. At least that's how I understand that part. As I said, I'm not a doctor, but let's test it, what it does. Here's the meter on the table, and the motor is here on the back of this one. Let me turn it on. And as you see, it turned red right away, indicating that there is electromagnetic fields going on right now. And now that it's turned off, the meter went back to 0 again. The same goes, for example, for some of these flashlights. Now, these have a much smaller field. That's not to expect anything big or too dangerous, but usually how you use them is right in your palm. So it's quite close if you are very sensitive to electromagnetic fields. Let me just show you if I can. I don't know where it has the motor somewhere. As you see, the motor is somewhere here, and as I spin it, it's creating magnetic fields, and usually how we hold them is this way. So now that EMF is going to our hand, and as I said, if you're sensitive, this might be a problem for you. Now the other one is one of these. These have actually a better build from Eton. Not sponsored, but I'll try to leave a link down in the description. You bet it's gonna be affiliate. And my meter looks like the battery died here, but we'll try our best to finish this experiment here, or this showcase. Let me try this one. I think the motor is somewhere here. As you see, I can make it 1.6, 1.4. It's not bad. As I said, this one is so far probably the safest when it comes to this kind of frequency. Now, how this works, even on a bare bones motor. This is a motor here, and this is just the crank arm here. Let me crank it next to this machine, and let's see what it does. As you see, the numbers start rising right away just because I'm spinning a motor nearby. So, how would I explain it to you? As I said on the beginning, how does this actually work? As I said, this motion here that the magnet does around the stator, or the rotor around the stator, creates a magnetic field. Right now, just moving it near this copper coil, I'm actually creating a magnetic field. Now let me try to create that field near our device. I suggest you don't put neodymium magnets near the sensors for more than 15 to 20 seconds because you will damage your sensor. In this video, I'm just gonna put it so I can showcase it to you guys. Now let me hold this down, and as you see, because we're creating that magnetic field over the coils and the machine is reading it, so we are creating intentionally a magnetic field around this machine, and that's why it starts beeping. Now there are some machines that unintentionally create this electromagnetic field when they're not actually on, or so we think. Let me show you one of those machines real quick. It's one of these Whirlpool machines, probably very dirty, that are air purifiers. I'm gonna flip it on the back side of it, because that's what I want to show you right here. This is where the motor is. Right now, it is off and unplugged. Let's see what happens when I actually plug it without turning on the button, without turning it on at all. And as you see, for some reason, these ones do a 1.5 milligauss where the coils are around here. Yep, it still keeps up to 2, sometimes even 3 milligauss. Why that is, I don't know. It has something to do that it probably keeps the motor energized just enough to kickstart it, because that's where the relays are too. So that might be a reason. Now let me click the power button on it, turn it on, and you will see the spike right away from the motor. And right now it's on, and as you see, it is jumping on the numbers quite high, actually over the 10, which is kind of the limit for a human to be nearby or too close to it. I think it would take 4, 5, 6 inches away that you should be fine. But still, it's something to consider, not to be too close to. And we're talking too close, within 10 or 15 inches and not closer than that. About the electromagnetic fields, or induction fields, how some people might call, I will show you real quick 2 more examples of where these fields could come from. And one of them is considered by doctors, not Omnitech, but by doctors, mildly dangerous, so you just should be cautious if you're pregnant going near the induction cooktop. And I will show it in a second how much it reads. And another thing is ceiling fans. For some reason, those are considered amongst these motors that if you're pregnant, you should try to avoid them as much as possible, at least in close proximity. In close proximity, we are talking 15 to 20 inches or closer. So 20 inches away, you should be fine near any of these devices. Closer than 20 inches, you might have problems if you're hypersensitive to electromagnetic fields. And now, let me just show you real quick those 2 examples, and we will wrap this video. And as I said before, here we have a ceiling fan, and the meter is right by where the motor would be, and it's not reading anything. So let me pull this thing here to turn it on, and you'll see the numbers start going up slowly. And as you see, they're creeping up, not the highest, but it's still not a good thing. And there are some ceiling fans even bigger than this one. Let me try to turn it back off if I can. Okay, now it should be off. But as you saw, yes, ceiling fans have that similar type of, or same type of radiation that those other little fans I showed you have. And now let's go to the stove and show you what electric stoves have in common with these motors: the magnetic field. And now we are right at the electric stove. It's off right now, and as you see, the numbers are at 0. Let me turn it on real quick and see what happens. Okay, the stove just turned on, and the numbers are starting to spike up. As you see right there, let me put it in milligauss. Yep, it's going 15, 20. And if I put it even closer, goes even higher, and here it just goes crazy completely. Now let me take it away from it around 20 to 25 inches. Okay, right now we are approximately 25 inches away, for sure. And we have safe numbers. These are safe numbers. But if I go closer, numbers start spiking up. And right now I would say I'm maybe 20 inches away. And this is just how these things work. I didn't make the rules. Let me turn it off. And yes, if you're hypersensitive to electromagnetic fields, please contact a doctor or a specialist on this field to let you know what to do next. And please do not just consult a video watched on YouTube or a review somewhere on the internet to take action. Please consult a real doctor. They might know where to direct you and what to do next in order for you to feel better near electromagnetic fields. And with that said, I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something, and we will see you next time. Bye!